Hello friends, now our topic is about bryophytes, mosses, liverworts and hornworts. So coming to the introduction, bryophyte is a traditional name used to refer all land plants that do not have true vascular tissue and are therefore called non-vascular plants. They have no wood to lend them structural support, nor do they have a large leaves or showy cones or flowers. So they do not mean that mosses are not important. In fact, mosses play an important role in reducing the erosion along the streams of water and nutrient cycling in tropical forest and insulating. Bryophytes are gametophyte dominant, meaning that more prominent and longer lived plant is the haploid gametophyte. The diploid sporophytes appear only in occasionally and remains attached to and nutritionally dependent on gametophyte. In this picture we can able to see this whole thing is the gametophyte and this is the sporophyte. So we have the sporangium. The sporangium will bear the spores and the spores germination will produce again the gametophytic stage. Absence of a specialized tissue for transporting water and dissolved food throughout the organism limits the terrestrial forms and being very short plants, since the only way to move the substance through the plant body is by osmosis and diffusion from the surface moisture. Bryophytes do not have roots, but they have rhizoids, which are relatively simple and sometimes multicellular filaments of thin walled cells. So these are the bryophytes with small rhizoids. So here also we have the small rhizoids. So this is the bryophyte. Reproduction and life cycle. Vegetative reproduction. A piece that breaks off a gametophyte and then lands in a suitable habitat will grow into a new gametophyte. The breakage may be accidental, such as animals, trampling, erosion leads to fragmentation and existing bryophyte colony. So, for example, this is the bryophyte colony. Any breakage will lead to the formation of new bryophyte. Sexual reproduction. This cycle of fertilization and meiosis involves in the alternation of the generations between the haploid gamete producing stage means gametophyte and diploid organism nothing but sporophyte. In the bryophytes, it is a haploid gametophyte that produces the leaves and thalli and therefore predominates. So this whole green color part is nothing but gametophyte. So the gametophyte part will be bearing the sporophytes on which we have the sporangium which will disperse the spores. So spores again in turn will leads to gametophytic stage. So this whole thing green color part is nothing but gametophyte and these are sporophytes. So these are sporophytes, these are gametophytes. The process requires the production of male gametes, sperms, the female gametes, eggs, and some means of getting the sperms to eggs. So the gametes are produced on the gametophyte. That's why we call it as gametophyte. The sperms are produced within a tiny typical stalk club shaped structure which we call it as antheridia. So this is the antheridium. So this whole thing is the gametophytic tissue and we have the sperms will be produced inside the antheridium. So each antheridium will produce numerous sperms. The eggs are produced in tiny and typically somewhat flask-like structure. We call it as Archegonia. So these are the Archegonias and this is the whole we call it as Archegonia. This is venter part outer covering. Inside we have the egg cell and these are neck canal cells. The sperms enter through the channel in a narrow tubular section. We call it as neck. A fertilized egg in an archegonium develops into sporophyte. So the sporophyte consists of spore containing capsule which depending on the species may be stalked or stalkless. Each spore containing a mix of genes from the two parents and on successful germination will give rise to new gametophyte. So this is the whole sporophyte. So this is the sporophyte. So capsule which will open and develop into the spores and these spores will be germinating into gametophyte. So this whole cycle is the sporophytic life cycle. Initially we'll start with spores. Initially the spores will germinate and gives For example, if it is a moss plant, it gives rise to gametophyte. And later, we have the male gametophyte and female gametophyte, right? So the male plant and female plant. Inside the male plant, we have the sperm cells. Inside the female, we have the egg cells. So after the union of male and female, it leads to the formation of sporophyte. So the fertilized egg cell develop into a spore capsule. So in this sporophyte, it undergo meiosis to give rise to spores. And these spores in turn again will germinate into gametophytes. Coming to types of bryophytes. We have three types of bryophytes: mosses, liverworts, hornworts. Coming to mosses. Location. So these are being located mostly in soil, rocks and tree bark. Helps to form soil, colonize rocky sites, so prevent soil erosion, grow packed together in a dense colonies. So the most body, we have the thallus, the body structure, rhizoids, hair-like absorptive, so do not have a true roots, stems or leaves. Many mosses have a separate sexes, male plant and female plant. The gametophyte generation is dominant here. We have already seen. So here we have the sporophyte and this whole thing is the gametophyte. This is the Polytrichum commune. This is a bryophyte. And Neum udentulum. Liverworts. Thallus, a body that lacks the roots, stems or leaves. Liverworts give their name from liver-shaped thallus. So we have the liver-shaped thallus. Gemme. Asexual reproduction structure of liverworts. Born in the saucer-shaped structure, gamicup. So these are the gamicups, saucer-shaped structure. So this plant is Marchantia polymorpha. So it is a kind of liverworts. Hornworts. Location: field and roadsides. Thalloids, which is around 1 to 2 centimeters. The sporophyte generations forms the horn-like projections out of the gametophyte thallus. Because of that, we call it as horny worts. So these are the horns, sporophytic horns. So mature sporangium will split and open. So this is the sporophyte and this whole thing is the gametophyte, this base, thallus. This is the gametophyte and these are sporophyte. So uses of bryophytes. They are used in medicines, cosmetics, food for animals and human insulating. So thank you very much. Please do like, share, comment and subscribe to my channel.